Hi, this is part 2 of our lecture about the relevance of irony to minor literature. We talked about irony, but why are we talking about irony in the context of our course? That's the question I want to ask you. Why? Okay, hopefully you took some time to answer that question for yourself, and I'll offer 3 answers for that question, and then we'll see some of them in action in the story. Okay. So we talked about how irony is a kind of doubleness of language. There's a distance between what we mean and what we say, or what we say and what we mean. Okay, this is a kind of reflection of the doubleness of identity that we talked about. Okay, we present to the outside world one thing, and we are feeling another thing. That's the same kind of distance as irony. Or we see ourselves from outside, but experience ourselves from the inside. That's also a kind of distance that is similar to irony. So irony in literature is a kind of reflection of the ironic state of writing as a member of a minority. It's a reflection of the double identity. But there's a further reason for the love of irony in works by minority writers, and I'm not saying that only minority writers use irony. That's clearly not the case. A lot of writers use it, but it has special resonance in the context of minor literature. And that's the fact that often members of minority, whether they are writers or not, find themselves in a situation where they can't say what's on their mind. So if they want to express themselves, maybe be understood by other people from the same minority, but not by the people who are from the mainstream, they have to use irony. Okay, imagine like a slave saying, "Yes, sir, of course, sir. You're the smartest master in the whole South." Okay, he's saying that. Other slaves can maybe understand that he's making fun of his master, but the master is just accepting it as as the fact. Okay, so it's ironic, but not everybody gets the irony. And sociologists, people who study culture, say that it becomes a kind of a habit. Maybe you start using irony to express yourself when you're afraid of what would happen if you express yourself clearly, or you might seem ungrateful or be punished, something like that. Okay, imagine, even if you ever worked as a waiter, you can't be rude to the people visiting the restaurant. But you might make fun of them behind their backs or to their face in a way that they don't necessarily get, okay? But it becomes a habit. So in a lot of minority cultures, like Eastern European Jews or African Americans, there a lot of use of irony in everyday speech. African Americans, for instance, are known for using bad words, slurs, to speak to each other in a friendly way. Okay, think about some rap songs that you might know. And the writers take up this habit, take up this way of speaking, and turn it and use it in their literature, representing the kind of thing that their group does. And finally, irony is a great way to be critical of the society, the mainstream society, or the minority society, the minority culture, or the mainstream culture, to be critical of them, but not directly, not saying directly, this is bad, listen to me, we have to change this is horrible, and screaming out, this isn't fair. No, it's an indirect, more nuanced way to be critical. You can say things through irony that, as a writer, you can say things through irony, and we'll see a lot of that in the story, that maybe if you said directly, people won't listen. They'll say, another person complaining. Or maybe you'll look, again, ungrateful, like an immigrant who wants to complain about the way America treats immigrants, but also doesn't want Americans to think, hey, he's ungrateful for us letting him in anyways. And that's the case that we'll see with Sue we've seen far.